What's going on? So, let's have a conversation about what how I identify what it's like being biracial. Okay, my mother, may she rest in peace. She is white, German, Irish descent, and my father is black, a foundational black American. Right? I can trace my lineage through my father's side to a plantation down in Alabama, Plantersville, Alabama. Okay, which to this day, that's a story for another time. Okay, I'll just stick to the script. All right, so let's have a conversation. What it is like being biracial, especially in today's such this racially divided climate that we have here in America. Okay, so let's talk about that. So for those who've been following and subscribed, you're familiar with my story when it comes to this. It's a conversation I like to have from time to time, just to rehash it for new subscribers and those who may stumble across my videos. Okay, these are just vlogs. I took some time off, and I'm getting back into the groove of things, and so it gets kind of it's a little challenging to find topics to talk about. That's relevant, right? And so not to say that I'm not without my opinion and things. I'm very opinionated when it comes to the life and times that we're living in today. Okay, and so so, and I really appreciate making these vlogs, making these videos, and those who have subscribed and who watch, and it helps. This is a good outlet. Okay, I'm not, I don't have very many friends. I'm not a very social creature in my old age. Life will do that to you. So this gives me an avenue, an outlet to get a lot of this off my chest and off my mind, and hopefully, it'll spark a conversation, and I can add value into the conversation. Okay, so what is it like being a biracial man in today's racially charged, divisive environment here in America? Okay, so a little background. I was born in '71 in Detroit, Michigan, born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, which is a predominantly black city. My mother is white, my father's black. Now, I always have to mention this, that this is during a time when being mixed, being biracial wasn't as common as it is today. There seems to be a lot more mixed people. Okay, but when I was born, not so much so. I was probably about the only mixed kid that I knew for sure. Definitely in my school. My sister is mixed as well, and so we went to all black schools, and we were literally like the only eyeballs there, right? And so that's what it was like being mixed growing up. I was always the oddball. I was always questioned as a child. What was I? People thought I was adopted, or they thought I was Spanish. People didn't know what, right? And at the time growing up, as a child, I didn't know, right? I really didn't see white or black, because I spent time with my black family. I spent time with my white family, so I really didn't. Of course, I noticed people's skin was darker, but I never really noticed there was a difference. Okay, until really it was. Oh, got a train coming through. Until really it was the adults pointed it out to me as a child that I was different. Okay, so yeah, we're being blessed with this train coming through. It's actually a rare thing to catch a train, so so just bear with me. Hopefully it's not super long, and we can just enjoy the moment as it flies by. So there it is. Hopefully you're like me. I still love the trains, right? Yeah, Lake State Railway. Oh, not long at all. Wow. That was about the shortest train I think I've ever seen. So that's a little bonus. That's pretty cool. That's a bonus for us right there for this vlog. All right, so yeah, and people used to ask me what was I, and I would just tell them I was tan. I actually said that. I would just say that I was tan. I didn't know, right? And it wasn't until I got older that, of course, I began to realize, what it was, the significance of being mixed. Now, I grew up in Detroit, so all my schools were all black, and friends were all black, and so, I grew up in the black experience and environment, right? And it was funny because all my friends would always ask me, what side would I choose if whites and blacks ever went to war, just to be digging on me. And I tell them whatever side was winning, right? so yeah, so I had these challenges growing up, and in the black communities, they have their own form of racism even within the own black community. If you could be real dark skinned and get laughed at and talked about, or if you're light skinned, you're laughed at and talked about. Yeah, so by me being mixed and light skinned, I was really picked on and bullied a lot and called white boy by the blacks. And then when I'm with my white friends and family, they call me black boy, because of course I'm the eyeball. I'm darker than all my white friends and family, and I'm white amongst all my black friends and family. So it was a thing, okay? And so and it wasn't until I got older that I began to accept my me being mixed. Samson, get over here. Look, he's just trying to take off for himself. We used to walk all the way down there, but I've been having a lot of issues down that way, so we just stayed from down there, just keep it just back here mostly. And so when it comes to the conversation of race and stuff like that, I thank God that I'm in the position that I'm in, because I don't align with just one particular race, okay? I know in society, according to things, they'll say I'm black, I'll say I'm black, but it's a thing, okay? Now, so, but when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, I don't identify myself with one particular race. I identify myself as a Christian, okay? That's my race. I'm a child of God, so and so everything flows and starts from there, right? And so that's how I identify. And I know in Christianity, there is no male or female, white or black. We are all one in Christ, okay? So when I speak on different topics and issues, it's coming from my Christian identity, but now, of course, I can relate and understand culture, black culture and white culture, and I like to try to bridge the gap between the two. So when I'm talking to my black friends and family, I try to represent the best of white people, and then when I'm talking to my white friends and family, I like to represent the best of black people, and it was funny because growing up, that was always a thing that I had to do, because especially when I was with my white friends and family in all white neighborhoods and areas, right? They saw me as the little black boy, and so a lot of the white people, they had to get over their own prejudices and stereotypes and so forth, you know what I'm saying, that they would already automatically have, especially a lot of white folks that never really came into contact firsthand with black people. So I had to represent the best of the black community, and so I bridged the gap between a lot of people, between the two communities, all right? And so in today's climate, You know, I don't get caught up really into the whole thing. The black victimhood mentality is just the most infuriating mindset to me. You know, I really get upset when I hear black people boo-hooing, whining, and crying about racism and can't do this and can't do that because it's a lie. It's probably the biggest deception that's going throughout America within the black community, right? Because never in the history of our time has black people, have anybody really had as much wealth and education and opportunity than as today. You know, so there is no excuse. And so the victim mindset within the black community, I have no patience for, right? And I know that it's through the Democratic Party they keep pushing that agenda, keep pushing that propaganda within the community because it's easier to control not just black people but the human being with fear. It's easier to manipulate a human being with fear than it is with peace and strength. Okay, and we see that that's the psyop that political party has been perpetrating upon the black community for decades, right? I can see it as clear as day, you know, kind of being a outsider in the middle. You know, I'm not just all black and I'm just caught up in the pro-black, too strong movement of it all, you know. And then by me being half white and you know, being around a lot of white people growing up, being in predominantly white areas and neighborhoods and homes, you know, I never saw racism on the level that they try to tell black people that white people are all these racists and hate black people. It's just not true. I never, you know, I've come across racists, of course, right, but it's not in the numbers or in the fashion that a group of people try to get black people to believe. It's just not, you know. And if truth be told, I've 99% of my experiences with white people have been fantastic. You know what I'm saying? They've always been generous, always welcomed me into their homes, always been kind to me. You know, and that's just the facts, you know. And what's funny is because, you know, growing up in the hood in Detroit, and you ask any black people that's from the trenches, they'll tell you, man, if you ever get in trouble or you need something, you can't call black people. You can't depend on black people to call. You know, I'm going to give you a quick story. One night I was driving from Detroit to my mother's house. She stayed about an hour and a half north of Detroit. And it was maybe about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I get pulled over. Of course, I don't have a license or nothing. This is back in the day when it wasn't as serious as it is today. So I didn't have a license. I had warrants for driving without a license and so on, okay? I get pulled over this time. Usually they just give me a ticket and let me go. But this particular officer, he said, I got to impound your car. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, right? So I'm in the middle of nowhere between here and there, right? And so they put me on the side of the road, told me it's a payphone down, you know, quarter mile up the road at a gas station. I could figure it out from there. So here I am on the side of the road about 2 in the morning, in the middle of nowhere, walking up to this gas station. Who I'm gonna call? I can't, there's nobody black that I know that I can call at 2 in the morning that'll come help me, right? It's somebody white that I know. There's a girl that I was friends with, her mom and dad, they loved me, right? And so I called their house. Her mother picks the phone up at 2 in the morning. And I just say, I got pulled over. They towed my car. She said, where you at? I'm on my way. Now, you ain't going to find too many black people that's going to do that for you. I'm going to just keep it real. But that just shows you that's the difference in the culture of people, okay? And I've always tried to explain this and express this to my black friends and family that, man, don't buy into the hype that all white people are just racist and hate black people. It's a lie from the devil is a liar. You know what I'm saying? 9 out of 10 white people you meet are very good people. You know what I'm saying? It's in their culture, right? They don't a lot of white people don't even like white racists and bigots, and even within their own culture. You know what I'm saying? We in the black culture, we put up with the foolishness more than white people will put up with the foolishness in their own culture. That's just the truth of it. All right, I'll leave it there. This went on a lot longer than I expected, but you know, it's obviously a topic that's near and dear to me, you know, and I'm hoping that you know, like I said, that I can add some value to the conversation, right? So thank you for watching. We'll leave it there. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and share. And until next time.